Good evening to you all, and welcome to episode 2 of lecture 3, still on the topic research problems, objectives, questions, and hypotheses. Before this session ends, these are the objectives we would like to achieve. 1. Distinguish statement of purpose and research questions for quantitative and qualitative studies. 2. Write problem statements, purpose statements, objectives, and research questions appropriately for a topic. And then 3. Critique statement of purpose and research questions in research reports with respect to their placement, clarity, wording, and significance. So first of all, let's look at how we are going to write a problem statement. When you look at the research outline, the chapter 1 introduction, you are supposed to write a problem statement. First of all, what is a problem statement? A problem statement is a statement that expresses the problem and describes the need for a study through the development of an argument. The problem statement should be broad enough to include central concerns, but narrow enough in scope to serve as a guide to study design. So the issue is, how are you going to write your problem statement? In writing a problem statement, you should make sure that you highlight on the problem itself. Also, you highlight on the background of the problem. You include the scope of the problem and the consequences of the problem. And if there are any knowledge gaps, you state them. And then finally, before you end with the problem statement, you can give a proposed solution. So let's look at an example of a problem statement and see whether all these components are captured in the problem statement. Now, our topic that we are writing the problem statement on is assessing the knowledge, beliefs, and screening practices of breast cancer among women in South Pond. So I'm going to read the problem statement for this particular topic. In Ghana, breast cancer is the most common fatal disease in women and is responsible for the majority of cancer-related deaths. This is according to Reidu and Ama 2006. According to a study conducted by Clegg Lamptey and Hudasi 2017, breast cancer accounted for 15.4% of all malignancies, and this number is increasing annually. Approximately 70% of women who are diagnosed with breast cancer in Ghana were in the advanced stages of the disease. This is according to Kebi 2015. Diagnosis of breast cancer first begins with detection. The earlier breast cancer is detected, the better the effectiveness of the treatment and the likely of the survival of the individual. Breast cancer screening methods include breast self-examination, clinical breast examination, and mammography, and these are usually done in combination. Unfortunately, some women do not know and cannot practice these simple detection measures. Consequently, this has impact on individuals' late detection, leading to complication and eventually death. It is therefore prudent to undertake a study to assess the knowledge, beliefs, and screening practices among women in South Pond. So when you look at the 6 components that I showed earlier, all those 6 components are captured within the problem statement. Now, the next step of the outline is for you to write purpose statement. Some will tell you main objective. So let's see how we are going to write our purpose statement or the main objective. But first of all, what is purpose statement? We are saying many researchers express their goals as a statement of purpose worded in a declarative form. The purpose statement establishes the study's general direction and captures its essence. It is usually easy to identify a purpose statement because the word purpose is clearly stated. So for example, you can start the statement by writing the purpose of the study was, then you link it with your research topic. So for example, the purpose of the study was, then you link it to your topic. So the purpose of the study was to assess the knowledge, beliefs, and screening practices of breast cancer among women in South Pond. So the next stage is for you to write your research objectives or specific objectives. What are research objectives or specific objectives? So these are specific accomplishments researchers hope to achieve by conducting the study. So for example, let's write the research objectives or specific objectives on our topic of discussion. So we are saying the study intends, normally you need to start with a preamble or an opening statement first. So the study intends to achieve the following specific objectives. 1. To assess the knowledge of women on breast cancer. 2. To determine the beliefs of women on breast cancer and screening practices. And then 3. To examine the barriers to screening practices among women. And please look at the language that I use, or look at the verbs that I use. To examine, determine, assess, find out, analyze. These are the words we use. We want those action verbs because you can actually determine whether they are achievable or not. If you use some verbs like to know, it is difficult to assess what someone knows. So normally we use words like to examine, to determine, to assess, to find out, to analyze, etc. Then, how are you going to write? The next stage is your research questions. How are you going to write research questions? Now, what are research questions? So research questions are specific queries researchers want to answer in addressing the problem. So here, normally you can just convert your specific objectives and you phrase them in an interrogative form, and then it becomes research questions. So based on our research objectives, we are going to convert them into an interrogative form or question form, and those are going to serve as our research questions. So for example, you start with an opening statement that the study was guided by the following research questions. 1. What is the knowledge level of women on breast cancer? 2. What are some of the beliefs of women towards breast cancer and screening practices? And then 3. What are the barriers to breast cancer screening? So I hope, based on the example I gave, you can identify your own research problem, write a purpose statement using the guidelines or the component I give. After that, you try and then write your purpose statement, your specific objectives, and research questions. So these are the sources of my information. You can read and get more ideas. These are some sample questions. As a final year nursing or midwifery student, you are supposed to conduct a research on the topic side effects of emergency contraceptive pills on pregnancy. So the questions are: 1. Write a problem statement for the study. II. Write a suitable purpose statement to summarize the goals of the study. III. Formulate 2 specific objectives that can be accomplished when conducting a study on the above topic. And then 4. Formulate 2 research questions that will be relevant to the study. Thank you all for your attention. Then we'll look at the episode 3 of lecture 3 in our next session. Thank you. Bye for now.